Viking Voices, the People of Princeton. Well, our second episode, I'm really excited today to introduce everybody, Fight Nation, to three tremendous middle school students. So with us today, we have 8th grader Aoife. So thanks so much for coming with us. Jose, and also Elizabeth. So let's get right into it. So Aoife, why don't you talk to us a little bit about this great opportunity you have at Princeton with robotics?
We get to build things and we get to learn how to use tools like the drill press and things along those lines. And I think it's really interesting because a lot of other schools don't have the opportunity to do things like that, but our school does.
Yes, I know you have really rigorous courses. You have difficult courses. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But let's stay with the robotics. Jose, now I know when we were talking earlier, you talked a lot about robotics and you really like it. How come?
Well, I just really like it because I get to express my creativity a lot.
All right, and what's like one thing that you've done in robotics that's just been phenomenal?
A 3D paper robot.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So we build it, and then we just get to do whatever we want to, like color it and add the antennas. And it was just really fun.
All right, and so 3D, so were you using a 3D printer as well?
No.
You didn't get an opportunity to do that yet, but we do have that available. Did you know that? So actually, it will build out things that you'll be able to test. So different pieces and parts, you actually design them all. And so really excited about that. Actually, not too long ago, I was in Mr. Bridges' classroom. Now, Mr. Bridges is a STEM teacher at the high school. He also teaches engineering. And we actually addressed that class because of a wonderful opportunity we're going to have soon. We're going to take up to 30 students across the state to have them learn about engineering, robotics, some concepts in robotics, advanced manufacturing, and design. So really excited about being able to have that opportunity. So Elizabeth, when we were talking earlier, you were talking about this great experience you had last Friday night. Can you talk about that in detail?
That great experience was band night. Band night was an amazing experience, and I was one of the many, many hundreds of students there that night. There were a lot of us, and I think that's the reason that we sounded so good. We all just collaborated together and went with it.
Now, I think I heard 300 people that were in the marching band that night, about 150 at the high school and about 150 in the middle school. So you felt it sounded great, and I heard you had some guest conductors that led, even Shrek. Is that true? So who was Shrek?
Dr. Maxim, I think.
So the middle school principal, that was great. Actually, the middle school principal is here today in the studio with us, but he's not going to be on camera yet, and he doesn't look like Shrek right now either, so that's good. Hey, so we talked a little bit about these opportunities that you have at Princeton, and that maybe some opportunities that other schools don't necessarily have. What else do you do, Aoife?
Well, I'm in gifted core classes, so right now, instead of taking 8th grade math, I'm taking Algebra 1, which is a high school math class. So next year when I start high school, I'll be taking a sophomore math class instead of starting on a freshman math class like most other schools do.
So you have an opportunity to earn high school credit in middle school. Boy, that's wonderful. And I know you were a little bit shocked when I mentioned this to you, but as 9th grader coming in to the school, next year we're going to actually have a pathway so you can get an Associates of Arts degree, which is a 2-year college degree before you even graduate high school. Now you have to qualify to get into that core, but if you do, you'd be able to get that. So you can go to high school for 4 years, come out with a 2-year degree, and halfway done with college, if that's what the pathway you would choose. And I know you're excited to learn that you could take some college classes next year, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I know we talked a little bit about robotics. Word on the street is that you're a pretty good soccer player as well. So how's the soccer team doing this year?
We're actually doing really good. I think we're 8-2. We won more games than we lost.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And you play defense?
Yep.
All right, so if you go 8-2, you have to have a pretty good defense, I would imagine. So as a 7th grader, you're excited to be able to be part of that team?
Yep.
All right, and who's the coach? Let's give a shout out to the coach.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Brown doing a great job this year, as well as all your teammates. All right. So Elizabeth, we talked a little bit about band, right? And that opportunity. Why don't you talk to us about your favorite class and go into detail a little bit?
I would have said that the favorite of my classes is probably social studies. I really like the teacher because he seems to understand the students better than most of the other teachers. He just really bonds with them really, really quickly. He also dives deeper into the subject and brings out some of the things that we never would have imagined would have happened in history.
Oh, that's excellent. So we're going to wrap up this segment. We're going to talk a little bit about empowerment. Now, you guys probably heard, you've seen all over the place, our mission statement. Empowering each student for college, career, and life success. So, Aoife, how do you feel empowered at Princeton?
I feel empowered at Princeton because I feel like students, no matter like what classes they're in or like who they're normally friends with, we can like talk to each other and like hang out with each other and be friends. And like you don't have to like someone immediately, but no one's really mean to them like when they've just met.
I know you talked about the diversity and specifically in the lunchroom, right? That when you go there, it's not like you sit with all the same kids all the time. You really like the diversity. Princeton's really diverse, as you know. So talk a little bit about lunch. So what happens at lunch?
Well, we have like groups of people that usually hang out together and like stay together because we have classes together. And during lunch, I'm sitting with a group of people where I don't have like any classes with them. So it's people who are, there's 2 people in CP maybe, and then like someone's in honors and I'm in gifted and someone else is in gifted, and we all sit at the same table and we all talk to each other and we enjoy it.
That's great. Jose, what makes a Viking difference to you? How do you feel empowered?
I feel empowered because of the teacher's encouragement.
Okay, talk a little bit about that.
So like if you're doing good in class, they give you good words like good job, keep on doing what you're doing, and if you're doing bad, they help you out.
So it's constructive criticism. It's not just like, hey, I didn't do as good as I could have. It's more like, let me show you how you can do better. Okay, excellent. Now, Elizabeth, last but not least, how do you feel empowered?
I'd say probably in the school district, I feel empowered by my principals and my parents.
Okay, talk a little bit about parents. Not that the principals aren't important. They do a wonderful job. But let's talk about that family unit for a second.
Your family should always be there to support you throughout your whole school year. And my family does a really good job of that. If I'm studying for a test, they just leave me alone. And if I need help studying, they will help me study. They're also really supportive when I'm having troubles with school. They'll always be nice to me and just try to bring me back up.
Okay. Now, it's interesting that you brought up family. The last episode, we had this wonderful conversation specifically about family and about how people felt at Princeton it was much like family. I'm going to put you guys on the spot right here. Do you feel that that's the case at Princeton, like it's a big family? All together, being able to participate in robotics, rigorous classes, cross country. We didn't even talk about that, but I know you run cross country as well and hope to play softball. With soccer and robotics and all that, we're going to have an opportunity maybe, Jose, when you're in 9th grade in 2 years, to be able to participate in a much bigger field trip to get you around the state so you can learn about all these different wonderful opportunities we have there. And Elizabeth, again, I know you talked about you not necessarily being built for stamina. You talked about you were built for speed. Is that true?
Yes.
Right. So it's great to be able to get to talk with each and every one of you. Thanks so much for joining us. And stay tuned. You're going to meet 2 phenomenal people coming up. We're going to talk about our school finance with District Treasurer Christine Petter. And also you're going to meet a former graduate from Princeton, as we always do, who has a little special announcement for each and every one of us. Welcome back to Viking Voices, the people of Princeton. With us right now, 1993 graduate Zach Sweeney. Zach, thanks for coming to this set.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
Appreciate and all your support over the years of Princeton.
Absolutely.
Let's get right to it. Zach, 1993, great time to be a Viking as it is right now.
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
So talk to us a little bit about your experience there, and I'm gonna brag for you here in a little bit. But we'll talk about your experiences.
So I'm one of four people, one of five children in my family, and I was the first one to go to Princeton and had a wonderful experience. Played football and wrestled, and really enjoyed the whole experience of Princeton, the diversity and the competitiveness of all our sports back in the day, and it was a great time to be a Viking.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know. So many times, when you look back in the history, people talk so much about the sports and all that. So I'm gonna go one step further, I think. So I know the academics have something that a lot of people talk about because the academics were amazing.
Absolutely.
The marching band. Let's talk about that for a second.
Man, I'll tell you what. There was nothing more exciting that would get you more pumped up than hearing the drums of the Viking band walking out on that field. I mean, till this day. That's one of my favorite things of going to the Princeton game is just hearing that band and hearing the drums, and just the excitement it brought to everybody. The how hyped up it got all the players, and we were ready to go when we heard the band. So.
It's so funny because when you talked about football just a second ago, and wrestle or whatever, there was a humility that kind of overtook you. It was almost like, well, I played, and it didn't seem that big of a deal. But you were Super 32 in the entire state, all state.
Stop, Tom. I joke. I was like an ex-high school football hero. Not really, but.
Yeah. But all Ohio and all that stuff, and to hear you talk about. And you could see how excited you got when you were talking about the marching band. That was something special.
It was neat. I mean, what football did, I think, built a lot of confidence. Builds a lot of confidence in young people and sets you up for life, really. A lot of the goals and lessons you learn in football really transfer into life, in business and teamwork and whatnot. So, man, it was an education. It was a great education, and from a wonderful man, Pat Mancuso, and his whole staff. Still friends with him today. Still customers of mine, thank gosh. But it was a wonderful experience.
All right, now you brought up customers, so let's get to this announcement a little bit. So, Zach, talk a little bit about this announcement you want to make.
So, the Sweeney family has been in Springdale for almost 49 years. We've been in business over 100 years. I'm a fourth generation in the car business. 4 out of the 5 family members live in Glendale, which is a part of the community. And we are excited to announce that we've got the opportunity to earn the naming rights to the stadium. So it's going to be Jake Sweeney Automotive Stadium at Princeton High School. And all my siblings, my father, and I know my mother, who passed away last year, bless her soul, would be so excited to hear this because she was a huge supporter of Princeton City Schools and a big Viking fan. I never saw such a nice lady go from being so nice and quiet to screaming, "Get him! Get him! Hit him!"
Yeah.
So she really enjoyed my time at Princeton and my brother's time at Princeton and all it had to offer. So it's only fair, and with so many customers and employees being graduates of Princeton and also supporting us over the years, it was the only thing it's what we want to do to give back to our community is really support Princeton City Schools.
Well, we certainly appreciate the partnership, and you guys have always been great partners, but to take it one step further, to provide us with the generosity that you guys have, certainly helps in general for the entire district, but also shows that level of commitment that we really truly want to get. And we have a very robust business partnership program. I talked about it last television show, and we do have some announcements that we're going to make during the game, but you will see Jake Sweeney Automotive Stadium at Pat Mancuso Field.
That's awesome.
For sure. Yep.
So excited.
Yeah, we really appreciate you and all the support, Zach, and we know that every home game, if you come up to the parking lot, you're going to see, what are they going to see up there?
They're going to see the Jake Sweeney Shamrocker. It's a mobile kind of tailgating fun unit, really brings people together. We donate it to all sorts of events, church functions, whatnot. It's just another way to give back to the community and give back to all the people that are patrons of our business, and really a lot of fun. So please come up and see us. We're right across the stadium, right above in the top parking lot, and come out and see some of your old friends and make new friends and have fun with the Jake Sweeney Shamrocker.
And if you can't see them, you'll hear them.
You'll hear it.
For sure, yeah. It's a great way to bring people
Absolutely.
together. And, you know, the last home game, we saw there were so many people. There were lots of classes coming together.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about. It's about
Absolutely.
bringing people back
It's
together.
about community. I
Yep.
totally agree.
So I mentioned earlier, Zach, about our mission statement. We talk about the empowering each student for college, career, and life success. In closing, why don't you talk about how your time at Princeton helped empower you to be so incredibly successful?
So I would say that what Princeton really did for me more than anything was set me up for life with the understanding that I was a very lucky individual, but that, you know, hey, it takes more than just giving an opportunity in life. You have to take it, and you know, it taught me how to deal with every run of life. You know, from the wealthiest of the wealthiest to the not so fortunate in the world, and understand that I was very fortunate for my father and giving us the opportunity. And also, I take a lot of pride in giving other people opportunities that I had, and because that's really what you can give everybody all the opportunity in the world. It's what they do with it, and Princeton provides a ton of opportunity for these children. I mean, it is so neat to see, but once again, it's what they do with it, and I think Princeton taught me more than anything else. And I've really enjoyed all the diversity of that school. I mean, it is incredible. Just all the people you meet, all the runs of life, it's just a neat situation, and I think it's great for kids to have that experience.
The most diverse in the state, actually.
Absolutely.
Niche.com actually rated us
Yes.
the most diverse.
So, I mean, and that's the truth. When you go out in the world, that's what you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see everything from, people that are smarter than you to, people that are better, and you have to adapt and learn, and it's a great thing. It truly is.
Yep, and speaking of opportunities, one of the great opportunities that we've given, 4 students are here today, and they're running the show.
That's awesome.
Behind the cameras, and the guys behind the cameras are great looking. They actually should be here. Zach, we should be behind the camera.
I totally agree.
We should be behind the camera.
Absolutely.
And actually, one young man right before we started today talked about this is what he wants to do. And I think in part because of the opportunities that we give at Princeton, we think that's really important that we do that.
Absolutely.
And certainly appreciate not only you being a grad, not only your help and support, very generous help and support, but just who you are and being able to represent Princeton in the way that you do. So thanks so much for coming in.
And we appreciate the support of this community, because that's truly what it comes down to in this world of internet and big box stores and whatnot. It really comes down to who supports you, and you support the people that support you. So we're proud to support the Princeton Vikings and the Princeton City Schools.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. And signing off for Viking Voices, the people of Princeton, my name is Tom Burton, Superintendent of Princeton City Schools. Proud to say so, and as always, go Vikes. Welcome back. With us right now, Christine Petter, our district treasurer. But before we get to Chris Petter, who's going to give us an overview of finances in the district, just wanted to thank one more time the 3 wonderful students that we had here. Boy, they did a great job.
Super. Hard act for me to
Big
follow.
shoes, right?
Hard act.
Certainly. So, Chris, I know we work daily together. We talk a lot about district finance. Obviously, we have the levy coming up, 4.25 mil levy. Can you talk a little bit about kind of an overview of where we are financially in the district?
Yes. We have a couple graphics that we're going to be able to show that you'll see that tell our story better than I can certainly tell it, but I'm going to walk you through them. And the first graph is the one we've used in a lot of the printed material people have seen around the district. And it shows our state when we look at revenue and expenditure, revenue money coming into the district, expenditure money going out. And you can see from the charts that the district is moving in a little different direction. In the past, we've had a lot of revenue, which has exceeded what we've spent. And we are now moving into the next phase, which makes us kind of like a levy district that most school districts around the state are used to being like a levy district. But Princeton, that's a new concept. We did have a lot of money from the tangible personal property tax And as most people in our area specifically know, that is being phased out by the state. So we're going to have to come up with some more local revenue.
So Chris, as we talk about that the first chart, which shows that there's less money coming in than going out, you know, we've talked so long and hard about some of the different adjustments that we're making. We reduce some of the capital expenditures that we've had, which saves money, new employees that are coming in. We try to hire students fresh out of college, which, you know, we have to do some additional professional development with them to make sure that they reach that high quality that we want to make sure that we put out in front of kids. Talk a little bit about just kind of, again, what we're doing to ensure that we're being great users of taxpayers' dollars.
Exactly.
Thank you.
The team has been very responsible in the last couple of years, really focusing on watching expenditures. We could see this coming. We all knew this was coming, so we have been preparing for that. As Tom mentioned, definitely on the hiring side. In the past, the luxury was the cost of the person did not matter. You know, we did have plenty of revenue to spend. Now we have to look for the absolute best candidate at the lower cost point, which is a good thing. I mean, younger people bring new ideas too, and we're excited about that. The capital outlay, that's a difficult cut for the district, but we will keep our new buildings in as well-maintained shape as we can, but we have to keep our eye on the finance part of it too.
Yeah, and you know, in all the talks that we've been around quite a few places talking about district finance and specifically the levy. We're only asking for what we need.
Absolutely.
And I know you have another chart to talk specifically about the summary and some of the expenditure. So do you want to go in a little bit different detail on that?
So the chart that looks just like the chart in red and gray, but this chart is in black, gray, and blue, shows the revenue we would get with passage of the levy. And as you can see, we're going to need a little more help to overcome that deficit. But we are planning on fighting hard at the state level. Our state funding formula is possibly going to undergo some change. And Princeton, as always, will be a big voice at the state. They still talk about the time we took a bus up there and everyone was at the State House fighting to keep tangible personal property tax reimbursement. They talk about that, legislators talk about that. So I have no doubt that Princeton will be back at the State House fighting for more state funding for our students as enrollment increases.
Yeah, and that's really the big story, right? So since 2011, we've had over 1,000 students, brand new to our district, come in. And so with students, with that increase, obviously we need to make adjustments and we hire, and that costs more money. But the biggest story I think is the fact that we're being very responsive to the needs of each student.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about, from your perspective, kind of what you see overall in the district?
I've been around, I've said this message in many of the buildings. I have only a few left, and I talk in the end about the importance of supporting Princeton and everybody having their stories to tell the public, because we're asking for enough money to keep Princeton programming in place, not adding. We just want to preserve the programs we have because they provide such great value, and we are very passionate about keeping that programming because Princeton's unique. I know everyone says that, but Princeton is unique, and the programs we offer are exceptional opportunities for our students.
In the first taping ever of Viking Voices, we talked specifically about the uniqueness of programming, and one of the students spoke, and it was great. He was like, I take CCP classes, AP, and IB. And all I could think of is people viewing this have no idea what all those are. So we talked about CCP being College Credit Plus and being able to offer college classes. IB, International Baccalaureate, only 1 in 9 in the entire state that offer a full IB program. And AP classes, we have a plethora of them. So you're right. And there's a choice that people make.
Yes.
And protect, preserve, and maintain. That's really what it is.
Exactly.
And Chris and I have worked very hard together, and I assure you that we're only asking for what we need, and we're going to continue to be tremendous users of taxpayers' dollars as we really make decisions that aren't easy, but certainly are for the best interest of our students. Chris, thanks so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts about district financing and where we are. If you want additional information, feel free. You can reach out to our district office at any time to talk to Chris, or if you have additional questions, to talk to me. But again, thanks so much. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.